with the first question. Uh, Councilor Tallman, what are your top priorities as a candidate?
My top priorities are trying to reach out to as many city residents as I can throughout the neighborhoods, trying to find what their concerns are in city government.
Uh, what are your top priorities should you become a city councilor?
One of the things I like to see is working with the Office of Planning and Economic Development is to try to get more businesses into Holyoke. What can we do to make Holyoke more inviting? Part of that could be streamlining the city processes, which we're working on with the different departments. Another issue I would really like to work on is, trying to get a plan, like a 5-year plan for departments that need, vehicles or that need different items for their function. And I think that's important because sometimes we're waiting until a fire truck goes down or a police car goes down, and we're sort of rushing to get it fixed or repaired or to buy another one. So if we have a plan ahead, I think that would be proper.
How would you encourage more civic engagement?
Well, I would like to try to get more community meetings together. I co-sponsored an order in the city with some of my colleagues to have the meetings translated in Spanish, the committee meetings and the full council meetings. And I think that's very important. And I think that will get more people involved. And I try to make, some of the community meetings or community events I try to show up at and try to get a feel for, what's concerning our residents. Whether it's the streets, whether it's, the police, the fire department, whether it's where they're living in their blocks. How can we make things better for each resident in the city?
Um, what are the most pressing issues facing businesses, and how would you propose to resolve them?
I think a big problem with the businesses facing them is the tax rate. I know it's probably one of the highest in the state, but we also got to look at the assessments. Some of the buildings are assessed lower than our surrounding communities. What can we do with some of our vacant buildings with lots? If we can take down some of our buildings that have been sitting there for 5, 10 years, some 15 years, try to make it to a point where we could take that building down and make a lot where a business could possibly come into. And it's important that we show that the business community that Holyoke is behind them. Another thing I think is trying to get trained employees for some of these businesses. Some of these businesses are looking for help, but they don't have the proper training, and that gets to possibly to maybe our colleges and our schools. How can we train our students better to get them into the employment world?
What has the city done right lately?
Well, just last week with our acting mayor, Mr. Murphy, we had a listening session, and I think that's important. We had business leaders, we had department heads in that really gave the concerns of what we can do better as a city. Before we know what the problems are, we got to know how people feel about, how can we resolve things? We have to know the problems. And it was a great start, and I think something like that on a monthly basis. We could get that together where we can hear from residents and business leaders. What can we do better as a city? Also, I think getting department heads together on maybe a bi-weekly basis, finding out what their needs are, what their budget needs are, what their employee needs are, to make things a little bit better for the residents and for the people they work for. And also, I think the Board of Health's done a great job with last year with the COVID-19 issues that getting the message out to the residents of the city that this is a place where we can go to get the swab, the test. This is a place where you can get your vaccine. They've been great. They've been right out front with the community and letting them know, and they're still doing that even up till today.
What are your thoughts on receivership?
Holyoke got into receivership because of our grades, our school grades, and Holyoke is a unique community. And I think what had to be done was done. I would love to see in 2 to 3 years, Holyoke getting back control of the school system. I think we have to get more parent involvement, although they're working on that now. I think we have to get kids to stay in school so they can learn. We have to give them incentive to make the schoolrooms, more inviting for the students. And once we do that, I think, maybe 2 to 3 years down the road, we keep kids in school. We get the MCAS scores or their test scores up to a level where the state is comfortable that the school board can have control and have a say, and that we can get a superintendent back. But it's going to take some time, and I think it's important that we do try to get control of the schools. But as of now, I believe we're in the right spot by the state in charge of the school system and trying to make it better.
Thank you very much, Councilor Tallman. Is there anything you'd want to add that's not in the questions?
I just think as a community, we've had our issues, and in the past year we've had a lot of difficulties, and we got to work together. And one order I just sponsored is to try to get department heads together on like an in-service day, where we could learn to sort of work together. I'm going to try to contact the college and see if we can get a facilitator, for a one day either during the week or on a weekend, where we can learn to cooperate with each other, to work better with each other, because we owe it to our citizens that if department heads aren't getting together, it affects their workload, and if it affects their workload, it affects the community on a whole. So I think it's important that we reach out and try to find out what's the issues in your department. How can we do this better? How can we get along better? And I think that's the first step of city government sort of working together and getting along better in the long run.